My name is Mark Jenkins. I am the chair of Maplewood's Housing and Economic Developments Commission, or HEDC for short. Just makes conversations a lot easier that way. I want to welcome everyone to the State of Maplewood luncheon. That makes us 51, right? Puerto Rico and DC are jealous. But hey, think of it. We have got some of the best educated youth of any state in the country. We have the best equipped sports teams of any state in the country. I want to start off by thanking our special guest. Today, we're blessed to have Christine Osario, who's superintendent of the North St. Paul Maplewood Oakdale School District, or SD 622, sort of like what we do with HEDC. She'll be delivering our keynote speech a little later today. It's great that the district has several innovative programs that help prepare our youth for life and for work. I also want to acknowledge our local elected officials, school board members, and leaders from other educational institutions. If you're here, will you please stand up? Thank you very much. Some of you guys are going to stand twice, by the way, because I also want to acknowledge our state legislative representatives and senators. So Leanne and Chuck, you can stand up again. And by the way, sorry to be misleading. I guess you have to go to work in St. Paul, not DC. I tried. Also, I want you to share my thanks with the members of our community who volunteer their time and their expertise on Maplewood's multiple advisory commissions. If you serve on a Maplewood board or commission, please stand up. These individuals volunteer their time and expertise in the city in order to help guide our council in their decisions. So thank you for your volunteering and your investing your time in our community. Finally, we have two premier sponsors we want to thank, Bolton and Menk and Polar Ridge Senior Living. Thank you for your continued support of the city and of our events. Now I'm going to go a little off script. If you haven't stood up yet, please do. No, I'm serious. I am serious. If you haven't stood up, I want you to stand. Because here's the thing. Everyone else that I asked to stand has some obligation of some sort to be here. But if you're a resident, you're a business, leader or employee or a visitor to our city, you're the reason we're here. You're the reason our city's employees have jobs. You're the reason our elected officials get elected to represent us. So when we talk about the state of Maplewood, there wouldn't be a state of Maplewood if it wasn't for those of you who sacrifice your time during the day to keep up on what our elected officials and our staff do to make your lives better every day. So you're the ones I really want to thank for being here. At this time, I'd like you all to rise for the presentation of the colors. Attention.
Present arms. Forward march. March time, march. Halt. Right face. Post. Present arms. Order arms. Right face. Forward march.
Thank you to the Maplewood Police Department Honor Guard for your dedication and your service. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce City Manager Melinda Coleman.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the state of Maplewood. And the state of Maplewood is very strong. It's great to see so many familiar faces and new guests here today, so thank you so much for being here. And also, thank you for supporting Maplewood and allowing me to have a job here. It's the best job in the world. As staff and council know, I am a huge Minnesota Gopher football fan. I have been a season ticket holder since 1985, and I didn't think that there was much that could top this year's season. We had an 11-2 record. We made it to the top 10 in the AP poll. I never really knew if I'd live long enough to see that. So now my goal is to help the Gophers have a new great season ahead, and maybe we'll even get to the Rose Bowl one of these days. And by the way, I did think about getting a hotel room for the Rose Bowl at one point in the season after the Penn State win, but I quickly hit reality like Minnesota sports fans do, right? So as you're thinking about today, I was reflecting on the Gophers' great season, but then I thought Maplewood had a pretty good year too. We had a lot of accomplishments, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. We had a great year, but we think 2020 is going to be a really fabulous year. So thank you for coming today to hear a little bit about that. With the mayor's speech today, she's going to outline sort of the year ahead, and Superintendent Osario is going to tell us about the great work they're doing to modernize our school buildings, and we're so impressed with the work that you're doing. Thank you so much. And to prepare our students for the future. So I want to take just a few minutes to kind of recap 2019, and then I'm also going to introduce the leadership team, which made most of these accomplishments possible. They really helped on that. So like successful sports teams, businesses, and organizations, one of the things that guides our work is our strategic plan. And that takes us through our long-term projects. We talk about our immediate or intermediate initiatives, and it also influences our daily operations. So over on my right is, those are strategic priorities, and we call those our 6 pillars. And this guides us on our daily work. So the 6 pillars are community inclusiveness, fiscal sustainability, asset management, integrated communication, operational effectiveness, and targeted redevelopment. Any proposal or policy that goes before the City Council must tie back to one of these initiatives. I credit our strategic plan, our diligence in carrying out this, and our continued review and assessment for our many successes that we've had at the city. So now to get into some of our accomplishments, we take our community inclusiveness initiatives very, very seriously, and we took them to new heights this year with the guidance from our internal organization called MORE, the Maplewood Organization for Racial Equity. One outcome from the MORE team is that our community outreach events. Our many departments work together to plan parties with our diverse populations at their homes or where they worship. And we also host our WOW events at Wakefield Park in the summer. These events are staffed by public safety, our fire and EMS and police, parks and recreation, and public works, as well as many other staff. We have met hundreds of people in more meaningful ways that has helped bring down barriers and build better partnerships. We're very proud of that work. The MORE team also engaged staff and partners in local governments and nonprofits across Ramsey County to host a first-of-its-kind job fair last year. The aim was to encourage students from a variety of cultural, racial, and social backgrounds to consider careers in local government. We know that our community demographics are changing and that we must ensure that our workforce better reflect the communities in which we serve. The fair attracted more than 300 high school students from around the metro area, so that was a pretty awesome event. Other visible ways to see our 2019 progress include one of the city's newly reconstructed roads. It's just down the street from here. It is the Frost Avenue corridor. It now connects White Bear Avenue to Highway 61 with many more bike and pedestrian-friendly features. After extensive planning and construction, the city also opened the Wakefield Community Building, which is an excellent gathering space to host city events, public meetings, and many family and friends celebrations. I hope you'll take time to visit our facility on Wakefield Lake. Both of these projects really tie into our Gladstone neighborhood, and we believe it'll help position this neighborhood for additional reinvestment and renewal projects. That's top on our community development staff work list. These projects tie to our strategic plan with our infrastructure and asset management objectives, and also targeted redevelopment. One of Maplewood's most significant accomplishments in 2019 was the completion of the North End Vision Study, and many of you in this room were involved in that, and we thank you for your time. That was really created a modern blueprint for how we reuse the area around the mall and St. John's Hospital, their campus. So it laid out a design for expanded entertainment, housing, medical office space, retail, and dining. This long-range plan really signals to our development community that we're ready, that we want to make some changes. And we really would love to see some of that asphalt turned over and turned into housing and some of these other things that I've described. And we really think that at some point, hopefully we're still around to see some of this stuff, especially me. I'd really like to see some projects happen there soon to just really make it more vibrant, commercial, and place for people to live and play. So that ties to our targeted redevelopment objective. I'd like to thank the Maplewood Community Development Team, the Perkins and Will, Mayor Abrams and the council, our business leaders and residents for their dedication on this project. And as I mentioned, many of you that helped on that are here today, and you put a lot of time. The folks on that plan met for over a year, at least a few hours a month. So it was really a concerted effort by many people to make that happen. So the projects that I've described just represent really just a small fraction of what our diligent staff and our senior leadership team accomplished over the last year. This year, I'm going to let the members introduce themselves through a little video.
I'm Mike Sable, the Assistant City Manager and HR Director for the City of Maplewood, and what I'm most excited about is building an organizational culture that can support our community now and into the future.
Let's just try a little bit.
A little more drama?
Sell it a little more.
I'm Ellen Paulsep, the City Finance Director, and I'm passionate about maintaining a sustainable financial future for Maplewood.
Why am I red?
Because the focus assist is on.
Oh, I see. That's where my focus assist works. Yeah. Hi, I'm Joe Sheeran, Maplewood's Communications Manager, and I love being able to tell all the wonderful stories about our citizens and our staff that make this city a great place to live, work, and raise a family.
I should have wrote a shorter one. Michael Folds, IT Director. I enjoy finding creative ways to meet our strategic goals through the use of technology.
Got it. I felt like I used the word building. I'm Jeff Thompson. I'm the city's Community Development Director, and I am passionate about working with residents and business partners to build a thriving community.
So how do we decide when a road needs to be fully... Now I see why bloopers happen.
I'm Steve Love, Public Works Director and City Engineer. I'm really passionate about improving the quality of life for residents through street, sidewalk, and park projects.
I'm Ron Beatty. I'm the City Attorney. My passion is seeing that local government works, and the way I do that is by giving my best advice to the council.
It helps when you ask me, it actually does.
I'm Audra Robbins, the Parks and Recreation Manager, and we're passionate about creating a positive impact on people's lives through our programs, parks, and facilities.
You have to say action.
Oh.
I'm Scott Nadeau, the Public Safety Director for the City of Maplewood. I'm passionate about how our police and fire work together with other stakeholders to make it a better, safer, and more connected community.
At Maplewood, please do so. That was the wrong one. But no, say it again. What did you say? Steve Lucan, and I'm the fire chief, and I'm very passionate about having the opportunity each and every day to make a positive impact on someone within our community who's having one of their worst days.
Can you make sure to get rid of this?
Oh boy, that's 8K. We don't have that. Yeah.
My name is Michael Mondor. I'm the Chief of EMS. I enjoy working with extraordinary people to prevent harm while keeping the community safe.
So I think that's a pretty awesome video, don't you? I'm extremely lucky to work with all these people. Excuse me. I appreciate your sense of humor and your ability to put yourself out there. As you can see, we all are really polished public speakers. I'm going to briefly share one thing that I'm passionate about. And some of you will know this, some of you might not even know what I'm talking about. But one of the things that I am most passionate about for our organization and for me personally is the Clifton Strengths Finder Assessment. I really believe in that. Our organization believes in it. The Strengths Finder Assessment helps individuals identify and understand and maximize their strengths. We focus on what we do well, not on we need to do improvement. It's a positive environment. Once you know your strengths, you can build on those to where you have unlimited potential to be successful and to grow. All of our employees have taken the strengths assessment, including our city council. As part of our onboarding process, every employee, before they come in the door, have taken the strengths assessment and they've heard a little video about our strategic plan and priorities. So they come in ready to be a part of our organization and follow our belief system. Surveys have shown that people that have work in strengths smart organizations experience increased productivity, they have higher customer service ratings, they have lower absenteeism, and less turnover. And those are done by Gallup organization. They measure that from all over the country and the world for that matter. Strengths also gives us a common language to communicate with one another, and this results in a more enjoyable and productive work environment. And that's one of the things that I truly believe in and I'm very passionate about. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that when we talk about the council members. So now I would like to introduce the mayor and the council. So before I do that, though, I just have to note that 2019 was a really crazy election year. We had a winner, we had a loser, we had a tie, we had a coin toss, we had a recount. All of that resulted in 2 new council members and Ms. Abrams being elevated to mayor. So it was quite an exciting few months there at the end of last year. Let me just start by saying it has really been a pleasure to work with such dedicated, passionate, and insightful team of public servants. Thank you so much for your work. So Mayor Lee Abrams, she's been a guiding force in our community's redevelopment. She thinks big when it comes to major initiatives. She also challenges staff to provide the highest level of service at the best fiscal value, yes, for our citizens. In her first year of mayor, she has provided tremendous leadership for staff and council. As I mentioned, I'm going to tie in strengths with the council. So Mayor Abrams, 2 of her strengths are activator and ideation. The mayor takes thoughts and turns them into action and is someone fascinated by ideas and very creative approaches to problem solving. Councilmember Kathleen Juniman, where is she? She's over. She's getting ready to queue up here. Councilmember Juniman brings a fervent passion to her work, especially on environmental sustainability issues, and also enjoys being an advocate for the residents. Her many years of service to the city ensures the body is rich in institutional knowledge and serves as a reminder that Maplewood is great because we have a tradition of doing things right the first time. So, Kathy's talents include commander and achiever, command and achiever. And if you know Kathy, this sort of makes sense. Kathy is someone who can take control of a situation and make things happen, and she has a great deal of stamina and will work hard to address city issues. Councilmember Brian Smith, he has a keen awareness for what our residents want and what they need. His insight helps keep senior leadership team connected to what residents and neighbors really think about our services and long-term projects. His talents are woo and communication. And woo stands for winning others over. So Brian is really good and loves meeting new people and making connections. He also finds it easy to put thoughts into words and is a good presenter. And I also saw him acting in a theater, local theater, and he's a pretty good actor too. As a retired executive at St. John's Hospital, Councilmember Bill Knutson provides a wealth of knowledge about development and the healthcare industry at a time when our community really needs to know that. In his first year, he's been a thoughtful voice on council, studying policies in depth and listening intently to all points of view presented. Councilmember Knutson's talents are activator and arranger. So Bill's the guy that can make things happen, and he likes to figure out how all of the pieces and resources fit together because he is really into maximum productivity. So he likes to make sure that things go well and that you get the best out of that. And working for a number of community and educational organizations, Councilmember Sylvia Neblett has brought a wide variety of experience to help inform council decisions. Having raised her family in the community, she understands how collaborative partnerships with the school district, private sector, and local governments all merge together to make Maplewood stronger. Her talents are positivity and arranger. So Sylvia uses positivity to get others excited about what they're going to do, and as arranger is a good organizer. She can also be very flexible because she is good at making adjustments to make sure projects succeed. So I hope today that you learned just a little bit more about our staff through our great video. And I'd like to thank Joe and Kevin for putting that video together. When they were shooting it, Joe came in and he goes, I want you to look at this video. If you like it and you think it's good, it was my idea, but if you don't like it, it was Kevin's idea. So I don't really know whose idea it was, but I really think it was fun and good. So I think that allowed you to learn a little bit more about us today and how we see and believe in each other and how we also believe in our strategic plan. It really is our guidepost. It's our playbook. We use it every day. We speak not only about strategic planning, but we speak about our strengths. So I think that we have a good team here today. I think through our team and our strategic plan, we produce better and more effective outcomes for our residents, our businesses, and many partners. I'd like to thank all of our business and nonprofits who help our community thrive, and also just appreciation for our sponsors for today's events. And now I would like to introduce Ms. Kathy Juneman, who's going to give out our first award today, the Environmental Stewardship Award.
It was nice of Melinda to say I've been serving for a long time and not call me the old lady in the group. But it's a fact. Oh well. It's my pleasure to be the old lady in the group. Today I get to open up our snapshot of businesses in Maplewood and the awards we are giving to recognize the people who contribute to what goes on here. So we're looking at really two ends of service acknowledged, I guess you would say. One has been around for nearly 130 years, providing, providing high quality equipment for some of Minnesota's favorite activities. I'm sure most of you know who that is. And the other is a newer business built to help address issues related to climate change. Gee, I wonder why I get to do this reward. I love this. In the next hour, you're about to learn about these organizations and how they become assets to our community. It is my privilege to spotlight our environmental sustainability, an important factor in our financial and operational sustainability. This is Ted and Colleen Redmond. They are the owners and founders of Pale Blue Dot. Pale Blue Dot sees a future that is carbon neutral, fully sustainable, and supports a higher quality of life for all. That's Maplewood environmentally. Co-owners Ted and Colleen Redmond have become a go-to source for local governments, businesses, residents who want to operate more sustainably and prioritize renewable energy. How lucky are we that they live and work in this community? And P.S., Ted is on our environmental commission. Blue Dot has been a key partner on several city Maplewood projects, including our greenhouse gas assessments and studies on climate vulnerabilities. That's an important one. Our tree canopy and solar feasibility. Some of you in this room may have received a letter after that study about how ideal your location is for having solar energy. The firm is currently working on Maplewood's climate adaptation plan. At last, we're doing it. Yay. All these projects are helping us as a city achieve its energy and carbon reduction goals. I'm proud to present our environmental sustainability awardees to Pale Blue Dot.
On your tables, you'll see this. It's Maplewood Nature Center. Since I've come to work here about 2.5 years ago, I've found that the Maplewood Nature Center is a true treasure of our community. They provide environmental stewardship, environmental education around the wide variety of aspects that are in our community. You don't have to go up north to find nature. I think it's a misnomer. We have a lot of nature in our backyards. One of the things we want to do is they just celebrated their 40th anniversary, and for 40 years, they've been providing high quality outcomes for families, children, school field trips on a shoestring budget. They do an awesome job. And in order for them to continue to provide the School Nature Explorers program, which educates more than 3,000 K-12 kids throughout our East Metro community every year, to keep that cost low for kids. Right now it's $5. The real cost of that is about $25. We know price elasticity among our business communities. This is a very, very price sensitive community. You raise that price, you're going to lose a lot of schools, and a lot of kids are going to lose out on an opportunity to be among nature. In fact, one of our folks right here, I'm not going to put her on the spot, but she said she went into environmental science because as a third grader at Maxfield Elementary School, she went through one of our programs. This Nature Center is training both people who are going to be natural scientists, but also your constituents who understand, and your business people who understand why nature is so important. What we're asking is, this is a fundraiser drive. We're asking you guys to contribute. And we're asking you to spread the word to help offset the cost. Again, $5 is a very, very low value or very, very low cost for a high value product. So to channel my inner Jerry Lewis from the MDA telethon, you know, give until it hurts here. Give until it hurts.
Thank you, Joe. Good morning. It's my privilege to be able to give the invocation this morning. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge, first of all, that the city of Maplewood, along with the state of Minnesota, occupy the native lands of the Dakota people. And we want to say thank you for this land and ask permission from the Great Spirit for its blessings for us to reside here. Let us pray. Eternal God, creator of the universe, there is no God but you. Great and wonderful are your works. Wondrous are your ways. Your word reminds us in the Psalms that unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchmen stand guard in vain. That is why we come to you this day, Christian, Jew, Muslim, and all other faiths in the city of Maplewood, to ask you to keep watch over the city. Keep watch over the people, our families that live here. Keep watch over the people who work here. Keep watch over our students who go to school here. Keep watch over the people that serve the citizens of Maplewood, especially our police officers and firefighters. Watch over them, Lord, as they go out and put their lives on the line every day to keep all of our citizens safe. Continue to give them wisdom and kind hearts to serve our community, and allow our community to see them as bridge builders. Watch over our superintendent, not only this morning, but every day, as she leads and directs her staff and guides our children into productive citizens and future leaders. We ask for strength and perseverance for our city manager and her staff. Watch over them and give them patience and grace, for they often see the pain and frustration in people's lives first as they come to them for assistance. Watch over our mayor and city council as we serve. May we be wise and just in our deliberations, and may the meditations of our hearts be one of understanding. Watch over all of us as we stand guard over the city, and grant us all mutual respect in words and deed. May we have restraint in the exercise of power and the will for peace and justice for all.
One of the most important factors in people's perception of a community is the quality of its schools. This is where we really need to forge wide partnerships. As city leaders, we can implement affordable housing policies, help create jobs that pay living wages, provide a variety of recreational opportunities, and build robust transportation systems, which can all support students and their families. But the day-to-day learning is out of control of our staff and our council and the rest of the city. Fortunately, the districts that serve our families here in Maplewood, which include the Roseville and North St. Paul, Maplewood, and Oakdale districts, have been great partners. They're creating opportunities for our students to thrive, and they're dedicated to ensuring that all students succeed. It's all of our jobs to spread that message. Our keynote speaker today has been an excellent ambassador for the students, teachers, and support team at the North St. Paul Maplewood Oakdale School District. Superintendent Christine Osorio has led the district of nearly 11,000 students since 2015. She's been a thoughtful leader in building community partnerships that support students. Her list of accomplishments in the last 5 years are impressive. They include creating a curriculum that better prepares young people for the professional and technical careers in our region.
This should work.
So you see the beard, how it's less saggy? That's what we're looking for.
There's different classes you can take in the Fab Lab. They'll just kind of give you an idea of what's out there as a career, but I feel like everyone should have a chance to at least take one of these classes just to see what it's all about.
So this is printed at 210 and this is printed at 200.
Honestly, I love just coming here because someone wants to go into like industrial career or something, and this is really, really useful.
Well, I'm trying to expose the kids to different pathways. It could be a mechanical engineering pathway or it could be a mechanical engineering technician pathway.
The first trimester is just kind of an intro to all the new technologies in the Fab Lab.
So this is how to use a laser cutter. This is how you use 3D modeling software. This is how you use a 3D printer.
It gives me pretty much a head start, and me coming out of high school and knowing all the stuff that I know here, it's fantastic.
Inevitably, what happens is the kids have to make a final project to try to use all those machines to create and solve a problem.
So this is the sign I have in my bedroom. I took a picture from the internet and I just kind of altered it a little, made the lines clearer, and then the laser cutter will cut it out and you can hang it up in your room.
The B level focuses on mechanical, where the kids have to design and build a frame and 3D print structural components that move with linear bearings, and they have to mount motors. So it's more a construction process. So those are all the mechanism wheels.
Building the 3D printer, it's something that makes you feel like you can do almost anything, but it's not really considered homework for me, it's more fun.
Once they hit the C level, they get into the wiring up the electronics board, you know, running wires to where they're supposed to be, understanding where the circuit board's supposed to be and how that goes. And then we get into the computer sciences, which is more or less how to program the printer. It's a project from concept to product, literally from start to finish. All right, you guys got it then? You guys are good? The goal is to try to make sure that the kids are following some professional skills.
Mr. Moran now is an amazing teacher.
And then following some basic processes that we believe that industry's trying to use it.
Last year I wasn't as refined in my, skills as I am now, because he's taught me a lot more.
He helps you and guides you and gives you a lot of suggestions on what you can do, but he doesn't tell you what to do, so you can take it in your own direction and you learn really a lot.
Yeah, not all high schools have this. I think this is a great privilege, and this is really useful in life as well.
As someone who works for a manufacturing company, I know how hard it is to find people with that skill set of being able to be solid technicians in that kind of environment, whether they're welders or fabricators or assemblers. We have a heck of a time finding those folks, and there are those jobs available, and a lot of times it's programs like this that bring kids to those kinds of jobs. And this program is just one of many programs giving students an advantage to compete in today's economy. Superintendent Osorio has also worked with regional stakeholders to reconstruct the district's schools so they better fit today's education needs. She's heavily involved in several education organizations and served as the past president of the Mid-American Association of School Superintendents. She currently serves on the executive board of the Association of Metro Area School Districts. Prior to joining District 622, she served as principal and held several administrative positions with the St. Paul School District. She started her career as an educator in the Peace Corps. One of her passions is helping elevate leadership roles for young people and ensuring they have a voice in shared decision-making. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Superintendent Christine Osorio.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. What an exciting day. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to be here and be a part of the Maplewood community. There's been so many amazing things happening in the city of Maplewood. And as you know, as I've been in this school district, this is now my 5th year as superintendent here in District 622. And I'm very proud to say I'm not going anywhere. I adore what we're doing here, this innovation that we have going on. I'm going to share with you today a few things that we're working on right now. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about facilities, projects underway, and some of the things we're looking forward to in the future for District 622. Somebody said to me one time, why do you call it 622? Why do you always say 622? And I said, because saying North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale all the time is just a long name. And I always remind people we also have part of Woodbury and a little bit of other areas as well. So we'll talk about kind of the geography of our school district as we move forward here. Whenever I give a presentation, I like to start off with the map of our school district. And I always have to explain when people say, how come your district looks so funny? I say, it's because the city of Maplewood looks so funny. This kids always say, it's just so weird. I go, I know, but that's because the city of Maplewood is shaped like an upside-down L. The rest is fairly normal, but this is what we look like. I always remind people we do have part of Woodbury in our district. As you know, part of a little bit of Maplewood belongs to the Roseville School District. So we all know that we share parts of each other's spaces as well. But as you know, we have 2 big high schools, North High and Tartan High School, 3 middle schools, and 9 elementary schools. But we also have a couple of large early childhood centers. We also have a high school for 18 to 21-year-old students with special needs who don't graduate on a normal timeline. And it's a whole separate high school. That's Next Step High School in downtown North St. Paul. We also have a level 4 special needs school, an entire school program, K-12, that is really an amazing place to visit as well at the Harmony Center. So we have lots of things going on, including senior citizen programming as well. I'd like to tell just a little bit about our programming because I think people often think about our school district as kind of your traditional K-12. We are one of the largest pre-K programs, early childhood programs in the metro area. We have over 500 students enrolled in our early childhood programs. We have 4-year-old programming at almost every single one of our elementary schools right now. And if you weren't aware of it, the adult education programming, like adult ESL classes and GED testing, we're the largest GED testing site in the state of Minnesota. And that's bigger than even Minneapolis and St. Paul. We are the largest. And we offer not only adult ESL classes and GED testing, but we also offer licensing for programs. So in our adult ESL classes, we knew we had a bus driver shortage. So we started teaching our adult learners also how to get a CDL license so you could learn to drive buses. And so we've learned it, like where are some places in the industry where people could get some training, some computer skills training, things like that. And when we see a need in the community, we offer it with our adult learners as well. Another area that we try to look at a need, we have ECFE, so early childhood family ed programming. Anyone here ever take your children to those kind of programs when they were young? Right, so what we noticed was that our ECFE programming, we tended to be drawing in a lot of our white middle class families. And so we thought, how do we tap into more diverse communities? So we started combining ECFE classes with adult ESL classes. So families could bring in their little ones, learn about parenting, but they could also get English lessons at the same time. That's a way we're trying to innovate and tap the needs of our community. A couple things that we offer, every one of our elementary schools has a STEM specialist. We're very proud of that. Our career and technical pathways, you saw a really great video. Our business professionals program and DECA programs are award-winning nationally. And we are also, AVID is a program, Advancement via Individual Determination. It's a program that really wraps around that academic middle to try to get more students of color enrolled in high school advanced classes, to get them more on a college trajectory. And not only are we really invested in the program, but our middle schools are identified as national AVID demonstration sites, and we're really proud of that as well. We are also one of the school districts that has the highest percentage of kids taking college classes, credit-bearing classes in high school. Sometimes I hear people say, well, why don't we just let kids be high schoolers? Why don't we just let them enjoy high school and not take a college class in high school? Well, that's great, but if you're a student who comes from a high-poverty background or you're a first-generation college-bound student, the research is extremely strong. Your opportunities for going to college, getting to college, and making it in college dramatically increase if you have the opportunity to earn at least one college credit while you're still in high school. And it's especially true for people who come from marginalized backgrounds, high poverty backgrounds. And so it's really important that that's why programs like PSEO, College in the Schools, were developed. And we are really big on trying to get our kiddos involved in that. And we're at a point now where over 60% of our students at Tartan and North High School graduate with at least some college credits under their belt. We're very proud of that, and we're always trying to get that number higher. And I want to just mention really quickly, if you haven't come out to see our high school plays and performances at North and Tartan are just off the charts. It is a program driven by a lot of parent involvement. I'm a theater mom. My daughter graduated from Tartan, and she was very, very involved. So I had to do the ticket sales and all that kind of stuff too. So I played my role. But Tartan and North really invest in heavy, heavy theater, and our performing arts and athletic programs are really growing. Interestingly, where we're investing in some changes in the programming, you know, as the diversity increases in our school district, we are now 64% students of color in our school district. And when you have changing demographics, you also have changing interests in sports. Our hockey program is dropping quickly. If you think about who traditionally plays hockey, it's often a very white population. It doesn't have to be that way, but there's also a lot of expense that goes with it. And if you know anything about race and economics, unfortunately in Minnesota, the color line often follows the economic line because of so many different systemic racist systems in Minnesota that we can talk a whole nother day about, but it does. And unfortunately, ice time's expensive, and there's a whole lot of things that go into it. Things that have really, really picked up for us: soccer, badminton, volleyball. Girls' volleyball is just flourishing. But our athletic programs are really, really taking off, and basketball as well. So those are some things that we're really excited about. By the way, anyone who is over the age of 60, I think that's what we have it set at, 60, can get a senior citizen athletic pass for free. You don't have to be a resident of our district and come to any of our home games for any of our sports for free. Please come check it out. Tell your friends and family, even if you live outside the district. So that's kind of a fun thing as well. I'm talking fast because I know we're trying to stay on schedule, and we really want to hear from Mayor Abrams because that's what we're here for. A couple things I want to talk to you about how we're communicating. We have a district app. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to. If you go onto your app store, just look for School District 622. The app has a lot of different information, including a little blog that we put out every month with some information, all kinds of stuff. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, obviously our district website. We were producing regular updates in the Lily, but unfortunately we don't have the Lily anymore. Where's Leon? We're sad about that. But we have switched some of our news announcements over to the Woodbury Bulletin. We obviously have good news stories in the Pioneer Press as well, but it's just a little bit less expensive if we do it at the Woodbury Bulletin, some of our things. We have learned that residents appreciate still print mail. We've done some research on that and learned that print mail still matters to our residents. And we've also learned that a big fat mailing every once in a while is not as appreciated as a one-time postcard. So we've started doing a one-time postcard every couple months with just news and announcements. So look for those in your mailbox. We try to take different topics that we're working on in the district. Obviously, our community ed catalog comes out every once in a while that tells you all the offerings. Check it out. We are constantly changing what we're offering for community education. We are trying to look for things in the community that will be reflected. We know that, for example, in our Somali community, there's been an interest in having a separate swim night where males and females can swim separately. So we have a girls' swim night now and have had a real interest in turnout for that, and that's been really fun. Our senior citizen programs are just flourishing with interesting offerings, so check those out. We have an alumni newsletter that we've just started doing. We're going to really be working on building our alumni network because we have some pretty fantastic people who graduated out of our district, and we want to really connect with where they're at and find them. And obviously, we've got a lot of videos and things we're putting out. We're going to try to really dramatically increase that as well. If you haven't heard this, every Friday morning on KMOJ Radio, KMOJ is a nonprofit radio station based out of North Minneapolis, and 89.9 at 7:10 in the morning every Friday morning. I do a little radio stint there with Freddie Bell and Chantel Sings. It's a lot of fun. But if you're ever up Friday mornings at 7:10, I'm always on KMOJ every Friday morning, or a member of my team is if I'm not there, so that's always fun too. These are just some fun things. College credits. U.S. News and World Report last year named both Tartan and North High in the top 10% of Minnesota high schools. We were really excited about that. If you ever see the Beating Me Odds stories that come out about school districts, recently the Star Tribune does a report of who's beating the odds based on your poverty factors and all your race and poverty rates and all that in your achievement. And of all the metro area school districts, our school district 622 is the #1 school district for the most schools that are beating the odds in the entire metro area. We have been for quite a few years now, and we're very proud of that. And every time the Star Trib has this way they look at each school for factoring the beating the odds, and we're just always proud of that. High achievement, elementary growth, and we had a really interesting project we're working on. We are really committed to having our professional development be teacher-driven, not top-down. We're very much trying to flatten our organization and have our teachers drive the change. So working with our teachers, looking at data for their students and telling us what they need and where they see the gaps. So, instead of the district teaching and learning department just buying curriculum and pushing it out, working with our teams of teachers to tell us, where do you see the gaps? What's not working for you here? And we support them. And we had this really beautiful example of our kindergarten teachers. Actually, we wrote the story up on one of our postcard mailings, if you happen to see it, that came out, where our kindergarten teachers got together and they saw some gaps in our curriculum. We bought some new investment in phonics programs. And in 1 year, our kindergarten teachers literally closed the achievement gap in all their incoming kids from fall to spring. Beautiful story. We have it written up on our website as well. Some different awards. I'm going to skip ahead because I want to talk to you a little bit about facilities, and I know we don't have a lot of time. You know that last year we had a big bond referendum, and thank you for all of your support. This was our first time passing a facilities bond referendum since 1994. And this is different than an operating levy. This is for facilities since 1994. And if you didn't see any of my presentations from the previous year, go online and look. The pictures show everything about how badly our schools were in need of this. Our first 2 schools are now underway. Neither of these are located in Maplewood, but Richardson does draw students from Maplewood. It's in the attendance zone for Maplewood. But you'll see completely redesigned, a strong focus on safety and security, secure entrances, separating the drop-off and pickup zones for parents and busing. Carver is in Maplewood, so if you know, in that upside-down L, Carver is way at the bottom of it. So I'll give you just a quick look at Carver. Carver is going to look, when it's just in the design phase right now. Projects just went out to bid. We're very pleased they came back on budget. We're looking really good for budget planning. And here's a quick little glimpse at how, if you've ever been inside Carver Elementary, you will not even recognize it. It's going to look amazing. So this just gives you kind of a little glimpse at some of the schematics we're looking at. And this project is not hypothetical. This has already gone out to bid. So this is going to be a very open design. I think you're going to be really pleased. So keep watching for news and updates on this when it does come through. I won't spend a lot of time now because all this is on our website, but I think you're going to be really pleased. I'm going to just keep going ahead. John Glenn Middle School. How many here have ever been inside John Glenn? Okay, many of you. John Glenn really needs a renovation, right? If you've ever been in it. If you were in it, like if you were ever a kid there, it still looks the same. Nothing has changed. And so I'm going to give you just a quick glimpse. John Glenn is also about ready to go out to bid. It's been designed already. I won't show you the whole video, but I'm going to give you just a quick glimpse. John Glenn is going to look very different when we're done with this. And while I show you this, I want you to know part of our plan with this redesign, as you probably heard through all the conversations last year, is some consolidations in the school district. We are looking at consolidating from 3 middle schools to 2. The Maplewood Middle School will be closing. However, we will be building a new elementary school on that property. That is being designed right now as we speak. And so there's going to be boundary changes. The boundary changes for elementaries and middles are going to take place in the fall of 22 is where we're looking at for all that to change. And in a minute, I'm going to introduce a few staff that I have with me now that everybody's done eating and can listen a little bit more clearly. But I will tell you a little bit about that. We've got Some big changes coming our way, but we are really excited that by the time the changes happen, everyone will be moving into redesigned buildings that are going to be quite beautiful. And if you've ever been in John Glenn, does this look anything like John Glenn? No. I will say this is the proposal that we have, reducing from 9 sites to 7 larger elementary schools, reducing from 3 middle schools to 2. The beauty of that is that the 2 middle schools will matriculate right up to the 2 high schools. No longer will you have the middle school that's split to the 2 high schools, which is what we currently have right now. We're designing them in a way that there's a lot of little pods and safety nets, so you don't have 6th graders running around with 8th graders. We're going to have it, really lots of thought is going into the design process for this. Here's a little bit of the timeline. As I mentioned, 22-23 is when the middles and highs will be done, and 23, beyond that is when we're going to be working on getting the 2 high schools renovated. North High has, if you know, we still have kids walking between North High and the District Ed Center. There's some classrooms upstairs. They still walk next door to get upstairs to classes. We're going to put an addition on North so they don't have to walk outside to get to their classes. That's going to be wonderful. Look for updates on our school website. So much is happening. We're so grateful to our community. I can't even tell you, our referendum passed overwhelmingly well. I mean, people keep asking, how did we do it? How do we do it? And our community really stepped up. We're so grateful to our community for the support we've gotten. And our goal is to be completely transparent along the way, not go over budget one bit. We are just like on our architects and our construction managers about every single day, staying on budget, on budget, on budget. And we're working really closely with that so that we can stay really committed to our community. But we want to make sure we invite you in, and please call us with any questions or even rumors that you happen to hear. We want to know what they are because we're really here for you, and we want to make sure that our community really feels a part of the process. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you for the invitation. We're so grateful for everything you do, and we're grateful for our partnership. We've had wonderful connection with our city council, our mayor, and the staff here in Maplewood City, so we're just grateful for all your support. Before I go, I'd like us to stand up for the staff that I have from 622 and school board members. So we've got school board members first. We've got Nancy Livingston, wave. We have Michelle Yenner, our chair of our school board. We have Kevin Wolf is the principal of Maplewood Middle, and Eric Melsness is the assistant principal of Maplewood Middle. And Josh Anderson is the director of technology and communications. So that's who we have with us from our staff.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. I've been deeply involved in education my entire career, and I understand how important it is. And especially, I think you would agree with me that parents are vitally important to support their children. So many of you remember those nights reading to your kids and doing all the things you did, going to the school luncheons, going to conferences, and all the things you did as parents. Then they grow up, technology advances, and they kind of turn on you. So my wife and I are a little bit tech challenged from time to time, and I call up my son, who's an engineer. Looking at your program is just astounding. That's the kind of thing that got him going. He's now a medical device engineer, designing a probe the size of a hair to identify location of tumors. And that's all I can tell you. The rest, he said he'd have to kill me. So we call him when we have these tech problems, and the first thing I get is, Dad, you and Mom are going to have to learn this stuff. You really have to learn it. And I said, well, aren't we the ones that taught you how to ride a bike and how to skate? So helping me with that enterprise was an organization that we're going to talk about today. So more than 130 years old, the Strauss Skates and Bicycle Company is one of Minnesota's longest serving businesses. Since moving to Maplewood in 1970, it's become a regional treasure, and certainly for me, again, teaching all those, the resource was incredible to work with our children. Anyhow, they helped with hockey gear, ice skates, cycling equipment. It's also been a valuable partner in Maplewood in developing public safety and the department's community outreach, doing tune-ups for our bike rodeos, annual bike giveaways, and donating cycling equipment. Their generosity extends even wider in the community, and we're going to show you.
It's great because you're around the kids and you can talk to them about bike safety and even make a quick fix on a bike that's there.
Strauss is right in our backyard. They have expertise. It's a bike rodeo. So we reached out to them, and without hesitation, they volunteered their staff time, resources, equipment, helmets.
It's been a great experience for us. And to see the kids come in with a smile on their face.
They're not worried about things like falling or their chain not working or their tire not being inflated appropriately. The partnership with Strauss, working side by side with our staff, is just something that's really enjoyable to watch, and I think there's a huge dividend that's paid as part of that partnership.
When kids have been told you can't participate and all of a sudden they're moving around on a bike.
I had a family last year that came in whose son was 16, 18 years old, never rode a bike, was always told he couldn't ride a bike. He came in here, we had him on a bike and had him out in the parking lot riding as if he'd been riding forever in an hour. Kids that have adults that have disabilities, we try and get them trikes. We can custom make, we can buy them off the rack. I've made bikes that people that have one leg can ride. It's just being able to go after what the needs of the kids are. Mom's in tears, videotaping it, and couldn't believe it. So, you know, that's the thing that makes it worthwhile. You know, that's the part that I like.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present the Community Contribution Award to Strauss Skates and Bicycles.
You know, in addition to Strauss Skates and Bicycle, it's important for us to also thank the school district, 622, Weaver Elementary, Regions Hospital, and many other partners for the success of our cycling programs. But thank you as well to Strauss. In fact, little known fact, Shelley Strauss, who's a member of the Strauss family, was one of the inaugural members of, at the time, it was the Business and Economic Development Commission, or BEDC. We all have these long terms, don't we? So, you know, whether you're connected to the oldest hockey shop in the country, you're an expert in architectural design, or just steeped in the amazing history of our community, our commissioners all bring their expertise and their experience to the table as we analyze the issues and opportunities in front of us. Please know there are openings on our commissions. If you are looking for a way to contribute to our community, we would welcome your application and welcome the opportunity to hear your expertise and your experience, because to be honest, we do all the heavy lifting. The council just takes the blame for it. So, speaking of Housing Economic Development Commission, when she was a council member, and as mayor, Marilee Abrams has really engaged with our commissions to help identify and distinguish Maplewood as a significant community in the East Metro, in the metro area as a whole. As an example, the mayor and all of our council members, as well as our commissioners, recently went on a development tour across the metro area to see how other communities are looking at economic development in their communities. And we have met a second time with the council to talk about strategy and vision for the Economic Development Authority. Ladies and gentlemen, the woman behind that effort, I'd like to present the the mayor of the state of Maplewood, Mayor Marilee Abrams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this wonderful event. What a fun event. You know, I loved the video and the food. Amazing. Wasn't that delicious? If you remember this time last year, we did a joint State of the City address. We were without a mayor and had an open council seat. The former mayor had been appointed to lead a state agency, and the council member was elected to the state legislature. The openings set off a series of events that would have sent other cities into chaos, but not Maplewood. Because of our solid infrastructure and leadership, we worked through the issues and we wound up stronger. We did not skip a beat. I want to thank council members Juniman and Smith. The three of us together worked through the twists and turns of a most unusual election cycle, and we kept our focus on the future of our city. I want to acknowledge council members Knutson and Neblett, who have joined us at the DS. The five of us work together. We bring our talents, our experience, and our commitment to public service. While we don't always agree on every issue, we do agree on one thing. We all truly believe in Maplewood, and we all sincerely want to do our best for our city. I want to acknowledge our amazing city staff that are here, led by City Manager Melinda Coleman. And wasn't it fun to see the passions of our leadership team in our city? I really enjoyed that. That was really fun. I want to personally thank you all for what you do for our residents and our businesses. Your wisdom, your hard work, and your dedication to making Maplewood the best we can be is evident and so appreciated. You actually make the work of our council much easier. I want to acknowledge our other elected and appointed officials present with us today who do so much for Maplewood. Senator Chuck Uyghur, I know he had to leave today to bring a quorum to a very important water meeting that Peter Fisher, Representative Fisher, sent his regards as well. He's chairing the meeting, and so he couldn't be here. We have Ramsey County Commissioner Victoria Reinhardt. Thank you for all of your work that you do for us. We have Metropolitan Council member for District 11, there she is, Sue Vento. Representative Leon Lilly is here. I haven't seen Leon, or welcome. Thank you, Leon, for all that you do. Nancy Livingston, our school board member. Obviously, Christine Osario, amazing superintendent for our school district. You know, a well-run city has many parts. I'm honored to be working with so many dedicated and talented people. I want to thank everyone here who serves on our commissions. You volunteer your time, and you too really help. They do the hard work, as Mr. Jenkins indicated, and we maybe get the blame, we don't. But they do the hard work, and we truly appreciate the work that you put in, the time that you put in, and your thoughtful decision making that helps the council really make the decisions that we need to make. Preparing for this speech was somewhat of a struggle, but one with a silver lining. For the past 6 years, many of my public remarks while on the council and now as mayor were rooted in updates for several of the city's multi-year projects. I'm delighted to announce that we've accomplished many of those goals. In 2019, the City Council approved our 2040 Comprehensive Plan, which will provide a robust guide for redevelopment, housing, and other infrastructure projects over the next 20 years. We've opened a beautiful lakefront community gathering space at Wakefield Park. Frost Avenue, which leads to the park, is fully reconstructed. We've got improved bike and pedestrian safety features there. We've got grass buffering, which will help filter stormwater from running into Wakefield Lake. It really enhances the Gladstone corridor, and it sets up future development there. And now I have a great answer for when I get the question, when I'm out in public, that comes most often. What's going on with the mall? The North End Vision, which Council approved last summer, reimagines that area as a vibrant mix of retail, entertainment, medical facilities, and residential units to sustain this commercial hubbub, this hub well into the future. We now have a roadmap and know where we are going. Awesome, right? Very cool. But now, what do I talk about at gatherings like this? Fortunately, our staff and council have great vision and that will guide us and prepare Maplewood for the next generation. While we have a plan for the North End, now it's time to roll up our sleeves to get to work with private and regional partners to determine what's feasible for carrying out the first phase of redevelopment of that area. There are still more waterways in our city that need cleaning, more parks that need upgrades. There's miles of streets with pedestrian-friendly elements to be reconstructed and housing units to be redeveloped or built to accommodate our growing and diversifying city. Just as our past accomplishments have involved collaborations among community members, the private sector, and regional partners, achieving our next set of goals will take strong alliances too. One of the projects I'm excited to see moving into a new stage is the Rice-Larpenteur Alliance. Out of the Stargate nightclub shooting, we've been able to unite with St. Paul, Roseville, and Ramsey County to design a revitalization plan for the area. With the help of the St. Paul Area Chamber of Commerce, we've been meeting over the last year, getting to know key community members, business owners, and other grassroots leaders. We've held a few large-scale community gatherings to strengthen our collaboration. It's truly a remarkable story of 3 cities and 1 county working together. Moving forward, we're working to empower those community stakeholders to take more ownership in guiding the redevelopment of Rice-Larpenteur that fits the needs of the people who live and work there. By this time next year, we should be seeing gradual progress in the streetscape over at Rice-Larpenteur. This will include more safety improvements to the road, crosswalks, and public art. The hope is that some of the vision's proposed development starts unfolding in the new year. One of the projects in the pipeline for Rice-Larpenteur involves what the city refers to as the Zittle property over on Rice Street. There is a proposal for a mixed housing development that includes a community garden and a farmer's market. One of the signs of new development at Rice-Larpenteur is the storefront over that replaced the old Stargate nightclub. Today we have the Nepali grocery store and restaurant. They're going to be hosting a special community luncheon the first weekend of February as part of the Rice-Larpenteur Alliance. They're not alone. Near City Hall, just south of on White Bear Avenue, Among Family opened up Unison Restaurant and Events Center. They are just a few of our area's new immigrant-owned businesses that are helping bring new life to our city and region. These are signs of a city going through a demographic shift. According to our latest census figures, Maplewood is 70% white, but the population breakdown of the public schools within our city, just Maplewood, indicates a dramatic shift coming. 70% of Maplewood's K-8 population are students of color. We need the foresight to be responsive to our changing demographics. Several departments in our city have been working to ensure we're providing culturally relevant service and programming to our new community members. Over the summer, our public safety department, which includes police, fire, and EMS, along with Parks and Rec and Public Works, hosted a series of fun summer events that attracted a wide variety of people and cultures. I went to the Touch a Truck event while my sons are now this year, they're adults, and they both just got married this last year. I actually went to the event and I had no children with me, but it was amazing to see how many people and how many cultures we have in our community. Some of these events included intentional outreach to diverse communities living in high-density housing, but what made them unique is that instead of holding events at a central city location, we brought the party to the community. In addition to the hot dogs, the pop, the bouncy houses, and other fun and games, Maplewood collaborated with other regional partners, including Ramsey County Health, the library, the Census Bureau, Metro Transit, and others to ensure that these communities had more access to critical services and important information. We made a number of quality community connections. Our staff learned more about the culture and needs of the people we're serving, and the community learned more about the resources available to improve the quality of life for East Metro community members. I'm counting on our city departments to host more community gatherings and build on those relationships that we've already established as we go into 2020. I'm working with Councilmember Neblett in reaching out to our faith community. We're meeting next week with representatives from houses of worship throughout our community. While the city has met with individuals from our faith community in the past, this is the first organized effort to build a faith coalition. In addition to building community connections, our departments are working more proactively to diversify. Parks and Recs field staff represents a variety of races and cultures. Since taking over as Public Safety Director, Scott Nadeau has brought an innovative approach to attracting and hiring candidates from cultures and backgrounds that are traditionally underrepresented in law enforcement. He's worked closely with Human Resources to cut the hiring timeline for officers, ensuring that Maplewood will be competitive with area departments for the best and brightest candidates. Thanks to our strategic planning and recruitment approach, officers tell us that they want to come and work for Maplewood because we're dedicated to community. We work on community-based problem-solving, policing, and they feel that they have a much larger impact improving overall quality of life in the community that they serve. These efforts have helped the police department boost the overall percentage of women and people of color to more than 25% of the police force, which better mirrors our community composition. Our fire department is also bringing on 2 new cadets from backgrounds traditionally underrepresented in fire EMS. They collaborated with Minneapolis and Hennepin County to hold a fire cadet recruitment fair. While these departments are making progress to diversify the workforce, the city as a whole continues working towards ensuring city staff better mirrors our changing community. The Maplewood Organization for Racial Equity, which City Manager Coleman referred to, we call it the MORE team at the city. They held a career fair in this very room last year that attracted more than 300 high school students from a variety of backgrounds. We paired with our school district and brought students in here to introduce them to working in the public sector. The city worked with representatives from more than 30 governmental and non-profit departments to introduce these students to public sector careers. In 2020, we will enhance these efforts through collaboration with other local governments, private sector partners, and our local schools. If we want to serve all citizens, we need people who understand the needs and the unique characteristics of all the cultures that call Maplewood home. Another group that we will continue to serve is our senior population. We're all getting there, folks, myself included. We are tuned to the needs of our aging residents, serving those with chronic illnesses or individuals who suffer an acute medical crisis. As many of you know, our fire EMS department, notice I said EMS as part of their title. That's because more than 85% of their calls are medically related, and our fire department has already completed several phases of transition to better serve our community needs. We are only one of a handful of full-time departments in the suburban metro with a full-time paramedic staff. One of the biggest projects over the next few years that will set us up well to serve our community over the next generation is the realignment of our fire EMS stations and construction of a modern north side station which will improve efficiency and target the specific needs of our residents. Another group we as a city are being more intentional about serving are people with disabilities. In our recent website relaunch, we have enhanced usability for people with visual impairments or other accessibility disadvantages to ensure wider access and transparency. I would encourage you to check out our new website. It really is very nice. In our parks and street projects, we're working to provide services beyond basic ADA requirements to make navigating our neighborhoods easier and playing in our parks more enjoyable and inclusive. Accessibility is just part of our overall parks and street improvement plans. In 2020, Maplewood will embark on master planning for several parks and will reconstruct more than 6 miles of roadways. These investments in our infrastructure will ensure our assets are viable long into the future. All of our current and future road projects are also built with the environment in mind. There's more grass buffering that will help cut sediment and prevent winter salt and phosphorus from running into our waterways. In addition, Public Works is collaborating with Ramsey Washington Metro Watershed District to remove sediment from 3 city ponds. This will go a long way to immediately improve water quality and enhance our open and green spaces. People used to think of Maplewood as a bedroom community for St. Paul. Our neighborhoods are close-knit, our residents are engaged in what's going on, and they're willing to be active partners in city projects. Our schools are preparing the next generation to ensure Minnesota remains ahead of the pack in workforce preparation and development. You know, I have to say, as being a council member, listening to Superintendent Osario and having had her present to the council when they were looking at their building referendum, it is so exciting to see our schools being transformed. We just had, the council had to approve plans for one of the first schools that came through the council, and I looked at the plans and I immediately thought, this is a beautiful building. I wish my kids were still in the school district, because each building is going to be touched and it is going to be updated, and it will be amazing. And the plans, the work that has gone into the effort to revitalize each one of our schools in our district is just so appreciated. I'm looking forward to it, and I plan on attending some of those ribbon cuttings. We've always been a great community to live and to raise a family, but we are our own unique city. We have a Fortune 500 company. We have a hospital. Thank you, Laura, for coming today. We have regionally significant retail and access to a major transportation infrastructure. And soon, we will have 2 bus rapid transit lines that will better connect us with the rest of the metro area. In 2020, we are anticipating new business expansion in Maplewood, more ribbon cuttings, and for the first time in a long time, significant housing developments. And stay tuned for what's going to be happening at the North End. Thank you to our business community, especially the St. Paul Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Yao. Thank you for the White Bear Area Chamber, for Maureen, and for Sherry, who is the new executive director of the White Bear Area Chamber. Thank you, both chambers, for all that you do for our city. I'm truly excited about Maplewood's future, and I am proud to help lead the city into the next decade of growth and development. As I look into our future, I see amazing new things on the horizon for Maplewood, and I'm excited about what we all in this room will accomplish together. Thank you all for coming.
Well, I would like to just thank everybody for coming, and I'd also like to thank our organizers today, our staff helpers that made today's event happen, our videographers. Thanks to all the attendees. I was going to say that I hope you had a takeaway for you to go with you today. You learned a little bit about our community, our businesses, our schools. I'll just end by saying that I want you to know that the city staff, the city council, we are all here for you. That's why we're here. And if you ever have a need for anything, you can call me or the council. We're here to help you. We want to be a resource. We want to be a partner. And just once again, thanks for being part of our day today.